Turn on the forehand is a great movement to use with the horses. It helps them start to understand how to break up their body and use their body differently between the front half, the middle half, and the hind quarters. I remember Alexa Schultenbaumer having a problem with what we call the rib cage, and she calls it the middle hand. And so I've kind of been stuck in using the forehand, the middle hand, and the hindquarters. So if you hear that, that's just a little leftover there. So in the turn on the forehand, they also really learn how to accept the outside rein as like a wall that they don't get to go through. So it really helps them learn to compress and come a little bit more uphill. So on the turn on the forehand, when I do them under saddle, I'm not super concerned about how small they are. So I want to tip the nose a little bit in the direction of my driving leg. So I'm going to use my left leg since my whip is in my left hand, and that can help my leg if he ignores it. I bring the leg back, and then I half halt with my outside rein to slow the front end so that the back end starts to turn around. And again, I'm not concerned if it's really in place. I want to feel like he keeps walking and I don't have to keep driving. So we don't want the leg saying, come on, buddy, let's move. Because see, he actually stops because of what happens with my seat. So if he doesn't move, he's behind my leg. He needs to be more forward so that my half halt can take him more around the turn, so not so that my leg can take him more around the turn. So what you should see is that his neck right here is getting a lot thicker from accepting the gathering aids of my outside rein as I drive him with my inside leg. And this movement later turns into really helping them with something like a leg yield, which I always say I feel the leg yield is improperly named because they're not really yielding to your leg, they're yielding their legs across the arena. So I'll show that to you again. I put the whip in my right hand well before I prepare him for a turn on the forehand away from my right leg. I don't want him to associate changing the whip with needing to use a stronger aid because that's when horses go, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble, you're going to hit me. So I'm going to bring my right leg back. I'm going to wait till the camera is right behind me. I'm going to bring the leg back, but not on. And then I close my thigh and I half halt with my rein. If he doesn't listen to that, both legs say, come, you got to be forward thinking so that I can half halt him around again. So the leg back shouldn't have to be, like I said, like on and driving and poking and prodding. Now he thinks he has to pee off. That's kind of his go-to when he's not sure what you want. It's not a bad evasion, but it happens. So this direction is his crooked way. He likes to overbend to the right, and so he's trying to curl up like a little ball underneath me instead of staying straight through the shoulder area to cross the haunches over. So this way just takes a little bit more time for him to start to drop the neck down. Stay forward thinking. Come. It takes a little more time for him to drop the neck down and give through the top line. Forward thinking. Sure, it's piaffe. So if they want to bulk, so his bulking is piaffing. Other horses, it's going to be run backwards. You just bend them, and then you can put the leg on and push them sideways and say, look, I'm just asking you to move your legs in a walk. And now I'm going to use that outside rein again so that the front leg stays more still. He gets a little piaffe, and I say, well, just go sideways, buddy. Good boy. There you go. Good boy. And these can be big. It's more about them learning to accept the outside rein as the wall from the driving aid so that they start to compress more. Good boy, buddy. There we go. Now the base of his neck has gotten pretty thick. And then I'm going to turn so that you can see my right leg. Hopefully it's light enough in here. And I'll do a leg yield across the arena. So this comes from my half halt with right flexion. I use both reins. I use my seat. I kind of push my pelvis down and over in the direction I want to go, and I have not increased my right leg pressure at all. So I'll see if I can do a leg yield away from the camera where I'm really close to you, so you can see that left leg, how little pressure it actually uses. So I'm going to get a little left flexion because I'm going to move away from the camera to the right side. My left leg comes back, and now I make my half halt to go to the side. If he's too slow, both legs say move ahead, and then I half halt to the side again. Both legs say move ahead, I half halt to the side again. Now if he's absolutely not moving over in that movement, I would go back to doing my turn on the forehands to get him to understand that connection inside leg, outside rein. If he's still not moving over, I might do a head to wall leg yield. So I would have a wall in front of his nose, and it's the turn on the forehand aid, but the wall keeps him from walking ahead so that he starts learning to move sideways off of the leg. And again, my leg is not actually on him. It's just back, and I'm using the half halt to tell him that we go across the arena instead of going forward toward his nose. And we'll do that hard turn on the forehand again. Good boy. Good boy. And they'll always have a hard direction and an easy direction with your lateral work, with your turn on the forehands, with your canters. They're always going to be a little bit one-sided, and it's our goal to try and make them a little bit more equal between the two. So don't be afraid to play a little bit with those turn on the forehands. I often teach them first from the ground. I actually have a lunging video where I have an outside side rein, and the lunge line is on the bit on the inside, and we do some turn on the forehands on the ground, and then let the horse out on a big circle so they can kind of digest the position that we put the body in. And when they start to lean in on the circle or go haunches in, they walk, they turn on the forehand, and they work their way back out on the circle again. It's a really good way to kind of reset a crooked horse's position so that they learn to use their body a little better in both directions. Happy riding, everyone.